As we examine what footnotes are comprised of in Chicago manual style, let's take a quick look here at any regular Microsoft Word document. This will be comparable to any Microsoft Word program that you might have, and this would of course be applicable to PC computers. Folks who are using Mac operating systems or Apple operating systems, the issues are going to vary slightly, but more or less if you get the general idea, you'll be able to figure out exactly how to input it. First things first is that superscript are usually going to follow the last punctuation of the sentence that you're citing. In other words, somewhere along the line of the sentence or the ideas that came before it, the sentence just preceding this, came the information from a book or from a journal article, and what you want to do is you want to input that information, or you want to let the reader know that you got the information from there. And so the footnote or the superscript to indicate the footnote is there follows the last punctuation. Now this footnote follows, or the footnote that corresponds with the superscript is at the bottom of the page. I'm asking you to use footnotes rather than endnotes. Endnotes come at the end of a document. Footnotes come at the bottom of a page. See, the corresponding to here is indicating the second footnote, and that's right here at the bottom of the page. This is what was corresponding with the first footnote that you saw above, and then this is the second footnote, which we were just discussing. These come at the bottom of the page, and these are also inserted somewhat automatically. We're going to take a look at that. The next issue that I would just want to look at very quickly before we actually look at how to compose a footnote, we want to look at the superscript numbering. First of all, it's rather automatic. There is very little guesswork in it once you have the steps down. And I've actually listed the steps for you following, and we'll get there in a second. The next point I just want to make very quickly is that footnotes are also, they happen in a very linear fashion. Okay, first footnote is there, second footnote is there. Even if I was citing the same source multiple times, you still use continuous footnotes. The first footnote is 1, second footnote is 2, third one is 3, the fourth one is 4, thus and so. Again, even if you're citing the same exact source. Alright? Please do not use a 1 to continue to, do not use a 1 throughout the document for superscript in order to indicate the same source, even if it is coming from the same book. I want you to use different superscript for the same source for every time that you're actually using the footnote. Alright, well, let's look at exactly how to insert a footnote into your text. Alright, so these are the steps that I basically drew up to show exactly how we input a footnote. Alright, I'm going to run through it very quickly with you once, and then we'll actually go through and describe each of the steps. First things first, you take your cursor and you put it at the end of the after the last of the punctuation, or essentially where it is that you want it. Take your cursor and you put it there. See, our cursor is now established there, even though I can still move around with this one. You go up to where it says References. On this tab, References is what you click, and sooner or later it's going to come on in. First things first, I'm asking you to go to where it says Style. See, point B. Make sure that you indicate the style that you want. Your computer will then help assist you with identifying whether or not you're doing it in the correct format. So in this case, we want Chicago manual style. In this case, it's going to be Chicago 15th edition. I can also work with Turabian 6th edition. You want one of or the other of these. These are different footnoting formats. We're not interested in any of those at this point, but you can certainly use those for different classes depending on what your instructor wants. In this case, we want Chicago manual style. That's going to suit us. All right? So that's in order. And now remember I have my tab here. It's waiting for me. It's waiting for me to insert the footnote. And I go up here to Insert Footnote. And that's exactly what we do. I just click on it. And then it automatically gives me superscript here where I had my cursor. Superscript 3, for instance. And then it automatically gives me a corresponding opportunity to input my footnote information. Alright, it'll be the actual source that I'm actually citing down to the page number. Alright, and it's just as simple as that. You also notice that I already had some footnotes already in place. However, at the beginning of the video, this, for Alan Brinkley, footnote number 4 was number 3. It automatically reorganized those numbers, even if I went back into the text in order to do so. It's very, very simple. And if I wanted to erase this footnote, if I wasn't happy with it, or I determined that I didn't need it, all I do is put my cursor back there and erase it. And then that's it. It's gone. It is no longer footnote number 3, and you notice it also doesn't appear down here anymore. So it's a very automatic, very easy, smooth process once you get the hang of it. All right? And these are just the basic steps that we use in order to complete the task of inputting a footnote. All right, and let's say, for instance, I wanted to hang on to the footnote, and I wanted to continue typing, or I wanted to continue working on any given document. Let's go ahead and practice that very quickly. So here we go. Under at point F, I put my cursor here, and I plug it in by clicking. Make sure my style says Chicago Manual Style. Then I go to insert footnote. Once again, it gives me a 3. Put a 3 here. Remember, I erased the 3 from before and gave me a corresponding number here, and I can insert footnote. Insert footnote here. Okay. But let's say I continue working and I go back to even the same source or a different source. What's that going to look like? I just go back and put my cursor where I want it. The style still remains the same. Insert footnote, and it automatically becomes 4. Very simple, very straightforward stuff at this point. Alright, now remember that random internet sources are not always as useful as we want, and so as I articulate this in this little help page, recall that you want journal articles and if not your textbook. These are both excellent sources, and some people have also been skilled enough to be able to actually cite lecture notes, which is perfectly acceptable as well. But from all of these different sources that you're citing from your textbook to your journal articles, what you're going to do from here on out, going forward, is with your work, I want you to include a bibliography. Now, bibliography is, as explained here, is a list of all of the sources that you have consulted in order to produce the work that you're going to be turning in. Be it textbooks, be it journal articles, this is just a simple list of all of the sources that you have consulted in order to answer any question or handle any question that you had. Alright, couple of things with a bibliography as opposed to a footnote. First things first, with a footnote, let's say for instance in the course of a book, it's going to be the first name of the author, the second name or the last name of the author, and then and that's in straight up and down font. The title of the book is what follows the name of the author, and the title of the book is going to be in italics. It's all italicized. That's how you know it's a book. Then you go back to regular font, and you have parentheses. Inside of those parentheses, you're going to have the city of publication. You're going to have the name of the publisher and the year of the publication. All right? And of course, because this is a footnote, you're telling me exactly from where in that book you attain that information. You're going to give me the page number that you actually consulted. This is in the course of a book. All right? I have another example of that here. Can you figure out what's missing from this particular footnote? We have, this is from your textbook, we have the author, Alan Brinkley. We have the name of the book in italics, Unfinished Nation, Concise History of the American People. Can you tell me what's missing? Well, a few things. One, we don't have our italics, our parentheses. All right, and that's going to be followed by a comma, and then the actual page number. Say, for instance, this is page number 77. All right, that would help us to complete it. Also, you can give me a more complete footnote by telling me the edition if you wanted to, or this is the 7th edition, or the volume, this being volume 1. You can go much further and give me more specific information on this particular work. All right, but this would suffice for now because you've given me the year that it was published, so I can figure out the rest of that information. Nonetheless, your bibliography is going to be alphabetized according to the last name of the author. Whereas in a footnote, it's the first name of the author, followed by the last name, and then all of the rest of the book information. For the bibliography, it's all going to be listed one time, regardless of how many times you may have used a single source in the footnotes. You're just going to list it once, and it's going to be ordered according to the last name of the first author. If there were multiple authors, for instance, in the instance of this book, our second book here, I'm just taking the first author. This had as many as 5 other authors that were helping to write the book, The American Story, Volume 1 to 1877. This 2007 book has as many as 5 authors. I just need to take the first one, and it's according to the first author's last name that it finds its order. Brinkley, starting with a B, goes first. Devine, starting with a D, the last name of the first author, would then be second, followed by Nelson, Whitley, and so on. I want you to take quick notice of something. In our bibliography, you notice that our first line goes all the way out to the margin, and all subsequent lines are indented. All right? Whether this had 2 subsequent lines, 3 subsequent lines, or 4 or 5 or what have you, they would all be indented. Only the last name or the line with the name of the author goes all the way out to the margin. And the rest of the information for a particular source are indented. Looking at the rules that I just set forward here, can you figure out which is a journal article and which is a book? All right, well, we have the title of the book italicized, as we have here, Unfinished Nation, A Concise History of the American People. That's in italics. Then the rest of it goes back to regular source, regular font, and you notice that there are no parentheses, and that's okay for a bibliography, whereas footnote, you do have parentheses there. However, when we come to a journal article, it's a little bit different. The title of the article, and this is the same article that we saw before, Revolutionary Character of the American Revolution, written by William H. Nelson. The title of that work is not italicized. In fact, what we do here is we add quotation marks. Quotation marks go around the title of a journal article. The name of the journal itself is what is italicized, the American Historical Review. All right. Also, we use the volume. We always have the volume 70, separated by a comma. And the issue number. This is issue number 4. And then, of course, this was July 1964. And then the entire page range of the entire article that we're looking at. Right. So this is the same article that we found earlier. There's the volume, the number, the month and the year of publication, and then the entire page range. All right. When we're doing footnotes, in other words, when we are citing a particular source in the midst of our text, right? When we're doing footnotes, that's when we use a particular page number. That's when we would just give one page number. Say the page number we would have used would have been 999 or page number 1000. In the context of a footnote, you just give the particular page, just that one page. In the context of a bibliography, where you're listing the entire source once, it doesn't matter if you only used one page, you state the range of pages. You notice for a book, you don't state the range of pages. You just give the source itself, and then that's it. All right. I'm hoping this has helped you to organize your footnotes and also to start you along the way of now using bibliographies. All right. Take care and God bless.